What's up, everybody? I'm Chris Eaton, and welcome to episode 86 of Snakes and the Fatman. All right, let's just check out what's going on with the old Herp shows in the next couple of months. They're going to be in Waco, Texas on October 15th and 16th. They're going to be in Lafayette, Louisiana, November 5th and 6th. They're going to be in Pearland, Texas. Fuck you, James. November 12th and 13th. Then they're going to be down in Austin on December 3rd and 4th. They're going to be in Slidell, Louisiana on December 10th and 11th. And then the first show of the new year is going to be in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma on January 14th and 15th. They're going to be back down in Longview on January 21st and 22nd. And then their fucking big show in Conroe on January 28th and 29th of 2023. They're just killing it. I mean, even in a shit economy, Sean and Lori are fucking knocking shit out of the park and getting people to come to these fucking Herp shows. Now fucking, it's your job, or the vendor's job, to get them to buy shit, all right? Just have some shit that they would like to buy. Anyway, even when the economy's in the shitter, Sean and Lori are still fucking crushing it. And if you're in their hometown of Bryan there, check the old Tipsy Trinket out and the Herp shop. Anyway, you know this. I mean, I've said it 1,000 times already. Herpshow.net if you have any questions. Go tell them what a fucking great job they're doing, man. You got a little bit of an extra shake there for this episode because I got to hang out with John Lehman in Arlington. Anyway, Morph Market's app is now in the Google Play Store for Android and is in the last stages of beta testing for iOS. The app adds a fantastic feature to the platform called push notifications. Push notifications, like if you don't know, are the small pop-up messages sent by apps like when you get text messages. This is a game changer for communication on Morph Market. Game changer. Push notifications means that buyers and sellers can get immediate alerts when they receive messages. This will help you send and receive responses quicker, leading to more conversations about sales. To get notifications, Android users should install the app from the Google Play Store now. iOS users should look for an upcoming announcement about the iOS app. The version of the app which was previously installed, not from the app stores, will soon be discontinued. Cut off. Push notifications open up a new world of possibilities for other valuable alerts, like when animals you're looking for have been posted on the market or when someone you follow has new listings. Please visit the Morph Market booth at the Tinley Park Expo to say hi and learn more. They want to hear your feedback. If you're not at Tinley, you could also give John feedback at www.morphmarket.com. Man, I had a fucking great time in Arlington. Better of a time than I thought I would have. And I just want to shoot out a couple of thanks and shout outs to James Sterling, Jennifer Simpson, Corey Martin, Lindsay and Tom Noble, Cody and Jessica Focht, Cody Heron. Interesting note, the first time in my life that this New Yorker has hung out with two people named Cody. Bill Stiegel, MJ, Justin, Chase, JT, and especially Jack and Heidi Dunlap of Southern Star Reptiles who hooked it all up for me. I know for a fact I forgot a ton of people, but Texas always fucking hooks it up for the fat man. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I had a great fucking time. Exhausting, but a great fucking time nonetheless. And I can't thank you guys enough. So right after I got home, Hurricane Ian just fucking pummeled Florida. And Ty Park from Iguana Land took a giant hit. He showed a couple of videos and the majority of the place is just fucking devastated. But all the animals are safe, but the place, man, I mean, it's fucked up. Ty is, of course, rebuilding everything and getting a little bit of help from the community. But if you guys could donate to Iguana Land, you guys know I never ask this of people, but if you could donate to Iguana Land at the information below, I think it would really, help Ty. I mean, the guy's put $6 million of his own money into Iguana Land to build a place for education, man. So I think that everybody could help him out in his time of need. I mean, his place is just fucked up. And is the nicest guy in the world, and is a lifelong dream of his, and to have it just fucking shit on by weather so soon after he opened up is fucked up. So again, if you can, please, at the information below, donate to Iguana Land. I don't care if it's $1, like anything will fucking help. And I'm positive Ty will fucking love you forever. Listen, don't be a Repta bitch. Be a Repta bro. If ReptiChip has proven anything to you by now, it's that they're the best coconut substrate on the fucking planet. ReptiChip, ReadyChip, Repta-Earth, Microchip. Go to ReptiChip.com right now and get all of these, plus the old classic Repta block. Check the website for deals on bundling your chips. That's all I'm saying. And don't forget, join the Reptilution. Get yourself a fucking Reptilution t-shirt. 100% of the profit from the Reptilution t-shirts goes back to people that need help in the reptile community. They also got deals on that website for Easy Hatch trays and all the Redline science bullshit, the fucking scrapers and fucking cleaners and tongs and fucking all that shit. One-stop shop, baby. Listen, I don't care when you go, but just get on it. ReptiChip.com. So I have a new sponsor that's also an old sponsor, but he's kind of a new sponsor, and he hopped on, and I think this is kind of a milestone because I think this is going to be fucking huge. As you guys know, Canova and Justin have been a sponsor of the show for years, and it's probably the worst kept secret in the industry right now that Justin, for the past year or two, has been working on ball python management software. Well, it's finally here. The program is called Clutch without the U, so CLTCH, because that's the hip tech thing to do now. Justin and his team over there designed the software for personal use within the Canova collection to streamline their workflow and help them scale to get to the next level. But as it came together, they realized how fucking revolutionary it could be for the industry as a whole, because that's what they do and that's what they're known for. Elevating the fucking industry. Check them out at Tinley this weekend and realize the power of your collection with Clutch without the U. It just works. Justin is like, or Canova is like the Apple of ball pythons. You buy something from them, anything, and it just works. Man, okay, this couple came out of nowhere and fucking really impressed me and are one of probably the nicest couples that I've met all year. Fucking incredible fucking people. Roger and Lori Gray have shown tremendous support for this show, and they're doing some killer axanthic shit. I fucking love these guys, and the only negative thing about them is they breed ball pythons and they have children. But Lori is hot as fuck, and Roger is definitely, kind of okay too, so they get a pass. Here's my 15 minutes with Gray Family Snakes.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes in the Fatman proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Lame!
Hey guys, it's Justin at Canova. So in the past few years, Canova has become the top source for amazing ball pythons. Now Chris tells me, Justin, it's time to give back. So we're sponsoring the 15 Minutes of Lame to support the new and upcoming breeders. So jump in here. Let's hear your ideas. Let's hear your thoughts. Maybe you can turn your 15 minutes of lame into 20 years of lame, just like I did. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So bring it.
15 Minutes of Lame!
What's up, everybody? Gray's fam. Oh no, wait. Gray Family Snake. Okay.
Singular.
Canova did the same. Justin did the same thing.
Grays, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Gray Family Snakes. It's Roger and Lori Gray, who, full disclosure, is their sponsors on the Fatman Live podcast. But I would have had them on here anyway because I've been talking to Roger for a while now, and he has a hot wife, so you know that was just... They're going to be on. You have a hot wife, you're going to fucking come on. How are you guys doing, man?
Doing awesome.
We're good.
We got the kids to bed, so we're ready to rock and roll.
Oh, okay. All right. 5 of them.
4.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit better than 5, but it is what it is. Are we planning on having another one like fucking Cusco? No, right?
Yeah, the plan was 3, so we stopped at 4.
Yeah, they're just the worst, man. All right, well, you know how this works, all right? We're going to give you 15 minutes on the clock to pimp your shit, and that 15 minutes is going to start now. So you're in Alabama, right?
Yep.
And you already lost my fucking 2 first questions because obviously the name is your last name, and you're doing like a gay little family thing. Like it could almost be Gay Family Snakes.
But it's got a twist to it. It's not just our last name.
Yes, explain that to me because that was actually a little subtle, nice idea.
Go ahead.
All right, so Gray, when we started, we knew we were going to be into the axanthics and ball pythons, which are really good family-friendly snakes. So the Gray Family Snakes is not only who we are, but also what we sell. So the axanthic family-friendly snakes.
So you're heavy into axanthic.
Yes, very heavy.
Okay. And I only know 2 breeders in Alabama. It's you and Coosa River. Well, I guess it's 3 now because Yellow Rose, because they just moved in together. But why should people buy from you?
Yeah, we take really good care of our people that we our customers as well as our snakes. So we have healthy snakes. We've had everything NIDO tested. We tackle it as a family, and we make sure that they're always in great shape when we sell them. We're also working a lot of kind of unique stuff like no pattern, no white pieds in our axanthic pieds, things like that. Right here in Huntsville, you're right, there's not a lot. When I looked on the Morph Market site where they show you where all the breeders are, there's not a single breeder in Alabama with more than 50 listings. And there's only 2 with more than 20. So it's kind of a dead area when it comes to breeders. So we got a little local collective that we work together with, and we're learning together, and it's a lot of fun.
So is there an Alabama clique that I don't know about?
Yeah, we call ourselves. So we're all under about 3 years of experience here in Huntsville. But yeah, we do have a small group. We call ourselves the Huntsville Area Ballers. So just if I can get a quick shout out.
It sounds like a bowling team, but okay. All right, cool.
So Justin and Whitney with Beauty and the Balls here with us. Joey and Brandy, Python Playground, and Josh and Katie with Alpha Ball Pythons. We've really been coming up together, and we do shows together. And we have a group where anytime one of us has a problem, we share it so we can learn from it, because now we've got a lot of collective experience, even though we don't have any breeders really here with long-term experience.
Right. Well, are they doing different things from you guys?
A little bit different. Yeah. So we really specialize in more of the higher end stuff with Great Family Snakes. This year we were really hitting the Xanthic Pieds heavy. We're working with VPI. We hit about 7 double visuals. We're excited about that. Most of the other folks that we're working with are working with more in the show range, $750 and lower.
Are you guys currently doing shows now?
We've done 2 so far, one in Huntsville and one in Gadsden. Gadsden show was interesting. There was a lot of normals sitting on the table for $30 that didn't sell. We sold one snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask because I know the local show market is just getting crushed lately. Yeah. So, how is that affecting you guys? But basically, you're probably bringing 10, 15 grand worth of animals to a local show, right? But the local shows aren't spending $2,500 per animal; they're spending $200 per animal, if that.
Right. We were really doing them just to get our name out, get to know the local area. We also do a little bit with the local elementary schools and try to just do some education. Brought our daughter; it was a great learning experience for her. She stood out there with the snake and told people about snakes and how to care for them, and learned a little bit about business and selling. So that was really good. The biggest things we did at the show was. One of our first we did the Xanthic Pieds, we bred her pet to a friend's pet. So we had some pastels and pinstripes and some cheaper stuff that we were able to sell at the shows as well.
Okay. And how old are your kids?
Good.
The oldest just turned 11, and then we have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 20. He's almost 2. I don't want to do that math.
That was a perfect husband response.
I just realized I've been talking a lot.
Yeah, that was a perfect husband response. Like, I don't fucking know, right? Like
I'm telling you, and how they are.
He knows all about that.
Well, like if one of the kids' schools ever called Roger, Roger would be like, why are you calling me? Like, I don't know. Like you probably know more about where my kid is right now than I do. I don't even know the name of the school. So that was a great fucking you take that, honey, kind of moment.
just hit forward on your phone when you go to work and
yeah. Just I'm sure Lori is setting up Roger's speed dials. Like, listen, now 1 is the school, 2 is me, 3 is what. Now, you've been doing this for about 3 years. So initially, you probably bought some adults, right?
Actually, no. We got into this when my daughter really wanted a pet, and so she actually brought in a wolf spider and said, "Please, can I keep this?" And we're like, "We can do something better than that." So we started looking around, and we decided that a ball python is probably one of the best pets for a kid. So we bought hers, but I didn't know how to really take care of it. So then it was all about YouTube, and of course, once you get into that, you get sucked into the breeding.
Fall down a rabbit hole. Yeah.
So when I first bought, I knew I wanted to do Xanthic Pieds. I spent months trying to figure that out. So I bought a bunch of het pieds that were visual Xanthic, and the opposite being, Xanthics that were het pieds. I said right. Opposite. So I was planning to bring those up, and I only had one that I bought that was at like 750 grams, and I was able to breed the next year. So everything else is really still growing up. So I've got about 40 snakes now that are designed to be breeders, and I've only got 7 I'll be breeding this season.
Okay. So you're relatively low, but still, if you breed 7 and you hit on all of them, that's minimum 36, right? 36 new snakes that you got to take care of. And so it's actually, once you get past 100, it really gets to be a full-time job. But if you have 40 to 50, it's probably pretty manageable. Does the entire family help out despite the name?
We do.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So
yeah, the kids like to show off the snakes and stuff when their friends come over. But they jump in when it's time to clean the tubs and change their waters and things like that too.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, at least
Lauren-
that's good. You got 4 little slaves working for you for no money, right? That's
Just 3. The 2-year-old doesn't do much yet. He just looks
Right.
and says, "Snake."
They pretty much help as much as they want to, you know. And Samantha, our oldest, is really into it, so she likes to do the show. She went with me to Justin's just the other day to pick up a snake, and she's really into it.
Yeah, no, I saw that. You guys are obviously dumping some money into it.
Yeah.
So you know this. We ask this to everybody. Money you've dumped in so far to money that you've gotten back so far.
We have dumped in probably close to 85K.
Okay.
And we've only made back maybe 15 or 20, maybe.
That sounds
15
right.
or 20 grand.
20
Yeah.
grand, yeah.
You guys are doing fucking amazing. Are you kidding me?
We put a lot of thought into what we're repairing. So yeah, I like to tell people, you know, the first clutch that I had a male that was 750 and a female that was 750. It gave me a $10,000 clutch, and so
Right.
we keep kind of doing that. And so when these 40 grow up, we're you know, who knows how long we'll have to keep our day jobs.
Yeah. No, is the intent to do well enough with this to quit the day jobs?
For me,
For him it is.
I'm ready.
Okay.
No, I like my job, but I do like to have an exit strategy.
Okay. And are you big on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all that other bullshit?
So we do a lot of the Instagram, and just recently got a TikTok that we're starting to post on. We have a few videos on YouTube, but not very many. That takes a lot more time to edit those and
Oh yeah.
The YouTube, we really focus on the kids. So we've got them cutting eggs. We've got the kids, you know, opening boxes when they come in and really just showing how they participate. But one of the things that I think is really great about this hobby is that you can make it a family experience. I mean, they learn so much from questions like, "Daddy, why do we need male snakes when the girls lay the eggs?" You know, we have to answer those kind of questions. Right up to my oldest learning about genetics and the morphs. So and business. It's been phenomenal. So we try to capture some of that along the way.
Fucking kids. You guys are part of the problem. All right, let's talk some sponsors right off the bat. Do you guys use Reptile?
Yeah, we started on Reptile. Actually, the first thing I ever got for substrate was on Amazon, Reptile, because we didn't have anything else really here in the area. And so most of our clutches have been born on Reptile.
That's fucking awesome. JT does not give Gray Family Snakes a fuck you. That's fucking great. Obviously, you use Morph Market, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
yes.
John Lehman does not give Gray Family Snakes, so fuck you.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Morph Market, we wouldn't be doing it because we wouldn't be able to sell what we want to do at the shows.
Right, exactly. And you said that you just bought a snake from Justin, so obviously you use Canova.
Yep. Once.
Canova does not,
But it
doesn't
wasn't
matter, man. It doesn't matter. Canova does not give you guys a fuck you. All right, here's where it's going to go downhill. Stewart Design. Did they design your logo?
They did not.
They did not.
Blake Stewart, probably one of the nicest guys in the hobby, gives you a giant double fuck you. Focus cubed habitats. Do you have any of those in your house?
I just bought a top for my Exoterra. I've been looking for something to keep the humidity in the glass enclosure because we still have 2 originals. We don't have it yet, but we have given them some money. But
That's awesome. Stephen and Ashley do not give you a fuck you. That's great. Doesn't matter what you buy as long as you buy something. Do you have a boa from Boa Affliction in your house?
No boa.
Kenny
Not
gives you a fuck you though, or in Japanese it's like something like that. Okay,
We're getting
Kenny
into
gives
those.
you guys a fuck you.
We've got the Madagascar tree boas, but as far as I know, they don't carry those. If they do, I'd be calling them every day.
Well, Kenny's a good guy. Fucking so in the future you should. Have you ever been to a Herp show?
No, they don't come quite this far out, so we haven't yet.
Yeah, you'd have to make the drive, right? Yeah, Sean Gray though gives you a fuck you no matter what though. He's worth the drive, man. Let's see, did I cover everything? Let's see, Bow Affliction, Canova, Morph Market, Reptile. Yeah, looks like. Oh, are those sea serpent racks behind you?
These are not, but we have sea serpents. We started with sea serpents.
Okay.
They're the only ones that deliver like quick.
Right,
So they
right.
take a little longer to get in, but we like the sea serpents a lot. And again, the first clutches we had were in sea serpents.
Okay, well, Chris Nettles does not give you a fuck you, so you guys are doing all right with this whole thing. Now, what are you expecting this year? Like, what's your big projects for this year?
What do you want to talk about?
No.
Well, we just hatched our last clutch yesterday that Lori actually cut. So we got some Pastave exanthic pieds, which are pretty unusual.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
It's all about exanthic pieds. We got a lot of lemon blast exanthic pieds and pastel exanthic pieds, that kind of stuff. Next year, we're going to put this season that we're just starting to breed. We're putting we've got a desert ghost head exanthic that we're going to put to those females and start adding desert ghosts to that project. But for the next season, it'll be a lot of exanthic head desert ghosts is what we'll be breeding.
Well, also, but by the time you guys get these things, we'll be able to genetic test on Desert Ghost, as one of the other things you could check with. So that's actually kind of awesome.
That's going to change our breeding a little bit. I mean, I sat down and mapped out 18 years worth of plans on how I was going to breed everything to get to quality recessives, and that'll change it because I can take more risk and then test.
Oh, I told them, I was like, you guys have no idea how many thousands of breeding plans are being changed right now, just with the announcement, of this.
Yeah.
Now, how many clutches did you have this year?
5.
Okay, so that's manageable, man. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
okay, and
7 next year.
Do you ever plan to be just in size, or you just plan to keep this as a hobby?
It'll probably be a hobby. I don't want to ever have to work. I've had jobs where I had to work 60-hour weeks, and I don't want to do that again. So I like the idea of it being something a little more low key. If I ever, we'll see. If I start hiring help and I can still do that and maintain a real life, then maybe we would grow. My aspirations aren't that high, though. My aspirations are just to pay the bills and do something I like. Right.
Well, you're definitely going to be working 60 hours with over 100 ball pythons. I mean, that's just really all it comes down to. Now, how could people get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you guys?
Okay. So we are on Facebook at Gray Family Snakes. We have Instagram, again, at Gray Family Snakes. Our TikTok is also Gray Family Snakes.
We've got 6 videos on TikTok.
Yeah, you got more than me.
That's something.
I have 2. One I didn't even do. I stole it. Are you guys, and what's your email?
So the email is
grayfamilysnakes at gmail.com.
Okay. Yep. You have a website or no?
We do. Yeah. So Gray Family Snakes as well as grayfamilysnakes.com. But it pretty much just points you back to our Facebook.
Oh, listen, it doesn't matter, man.
Yeah.
Okay. 15 minutes is up. But you guys did good, man. You guys did good. I can't play favorites, man. It's bad enough I was going to wear your shirt tonight, so can't be playing favorites, but you guys are fucking awesome, man. I really like you guys. I'm just getting to know Lori. I've been talking to Roger for a while now, and I mean, buy from these people, man. They are fucking good people, and if you're into Xanthic pieds, definitely fucking check them out. You're on Morph Market under Gray Family Snakes, right?
Yep,
yes.
That's right. And we're working with VPI, just to specify.
Okay, so everybody get over there and fucking give these guys, how do you like something on Morph Market? Is there a...
They say you can follow people now. You can follow individual breeders. I haven't done much of that yet. I did follow Ozzy and Justin, but not anybody else.
I think I need to know more about Morph Market for them being a sponsor. I really don't know shit about it.
Well, why would you don't go buy stuff on there?
Well, that's I can do that, but at this point, I have so many friends that do something, like whatever I want, that I just call them and say, hey, send me a fat dumpy frog with blue spots on it, and they just do it, So, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and everybody get over to Gray Family Snakes on everything. Take it easy, guys.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes in the Batman proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Lame!
All right, I have a couple of questions for anyone trying to run a business in the reptile industry. Do you ever feel like you're held back by a dated or detailed image? Are you sick of competing on price or convincing people to buy your fucking animals? Are you ready for a change but not sure where to start? Stewart Design guides ambitious companies to discover and share their meaningful difference and empowers them to reach their greatest potential. If you've been listening to me for a while, you probably know my man Blake Stewart at Stewart Design. If not, I'm certain you've seen the waves they're making within the industry. They've worked with the biggest and baddest players in the game. Stewart Design rebranded ball python extraordinaire Justin Kabilka over at Canova. They also created the brands for Amos Reptiles, my boy Zach Nava, Garrett Hartle with Reach Out Reptiles, as well as many, many more. Not to mention the rebranding and all the work that Blake has donated to USARK just because of his love for the industry. Stewart Design helps take that dumpster fire shit of a logo you drew in Microsoft Word to a whole new level. Get your big boy pants on because this isn't a game. There are literally thousands of breeders and more coming out every day. So how the fuck will you stand out at Tinley or on Morph Market or at Daytona? Why should anyone buy anything from you when there are literally thousands of other dickheads out there selling the same stuff? If you want to run a real business and not some part-time fucking hobby, you have to stand out and look the goddamn part. If you give a shit about your business and want other people to give a shit about it, get a hold of Blake Stewart over at Stewart Design. Stewart Design is a professional branding agency. Just check out their website to see the list of major national and international awards that they've won. And besides creating kick-ass logos, Stewart Design also designs and prints everything you need to crush your next show, so you don't look like another fucking reject. Business cards, stickers, flyers, table covers, banners, you name it, they got it. Visit sdidentity.com or email info@sdidentity.com to learn more. That's info@sdidentity.com to get started. So I'm feeling like one of the cool kids because Benson Morrill from Rare Genetics and Patrick Macknight called me up specifically to come on this show to spread the news about the genetic testing that Morph Market and Canova and all of you fucking people have been ringing my phone off the hook about. They wanted to talk about the actual process of how it's done, what the future holds, and all these cool things that they could do now that the power of genetic testing is in the hands, almost the hands of the everyman. But I mean, these two are fucking doctors, so they're smart as fuck. So here you go. In a Snakes and a Fatman exclusive, I sit down with not one, but two fucking doctors, man. Who would have ever thunk it? Let me tell you something. If I'm going to do a three-way, I'm not just doing a three-way with fucking these shitty ball python people. I'm doing it with fucking doctors. And here's my three-way with Ben from Rare Genetics and Patrick Macknight from Macknight fucking Stables. All right, everybody, look who I got here. I got the guys behind Morph Market and Canova's giant announcement last week. My old friend, fucking Patrick Macknight from Macknight Stables and Ben Morrill from Rare Genetics. What's up, guys?
Hey, bud. How you doing?
Happy to be here.
Good, man. Well, you may change your mind, Ben. Patrick already knows me, so fucking he came prepared. So why don't you tell me what you guys are here to announce, and we'll take it from there.
So we're just able to sign deals with Morph Market and with Clutch, which is something that Canova is a part of, and it's going to be promoting and selling genetic tests that we're running through the Canova and their clutch software, it will be mostly ball python, at least to begin with, all ball python. But then through Morph Market, we'll have genetic tests for other species as well. We've been doing colubrid and venomous snake sex determination for about 4 years now. And we will be adding several other species for sex determination and for several other things like identity testing and various other tests that we'll have going here pretty quick.
All right. Well, in a brief Cliff Notes type of way, okay, can you explain to people how this is done as far as genetic testing and ball pythons? And remember, this is a dick and fart joke podcast, so 99% of my listeners aren't doctors. So dumb it down to a point of like let's say you were trying to explain it to a retarded kid, how you would do that.
All right, sounds good. But first of all, I was a keeper way before I got into academics, so I'm pretty well versed in that side as well. I remember what that's like being a keeper and breeder. And still am a keeper and breeder, but now I'm more of a nerd. But anyway, to just make it really simple, say you just bought a ball python and you think it has a morph or two, you don't know for sure, you don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but you'd like to find out. Well, we'll be able to, through the Canova and Clutch software, you'll be able to order a test, or through Morph Market, you'll be able to order a test, and we'll have single genes. We'll have a panel where you can get, all the genes we have to that point tested. But essentially, if you think it has a couple, you could order a 2-gene test, and also say on there you want to know whether it's a boy or a girl. And all you need to do is order that test and either write down the order number, sample number that the software will give you, depending on which platform you go through. So you'll have that order number, and specifically for each sample. But if you're just doing one animal, that sample number, you'll just write that on a piece of paper and include it with the shed. And all you need is a small piece, like the size of a quarter of the shed. So if it's a large animal, we just need you to tear a little bit, not send the whole 10 feet of boa shed to us. Just a small piece. Be as clean and as dry. The thing that will mess up the DNA is moisture, wet. And so you want to get it out of the cage as fast as you can, dry it out completely, and then get that small piece and have your sample number written down on a piece of paper to include with it. And then when it comes here, we can run that genetic test. We'll be able to tell what, if those couple of morphs, if it has it or not, and tell you whether it's a boy or a girl.
Well, Ben, that was a very cogent and thought out answer, so I appreciate that. However, my question was, how is it done? Meaning, when you send the shed in.
Oh, you want to know
what happens? I want to know the science behind it. Yeah,
sure.
Ben came in with the business answer, and he's like, "This is the business plan. This is how you're submitting the sample. We're not going to tell you the secrets of how we process the sample." From
now on, you can just do that.
Just a generalization.
It's
magic. No, just a generalization, because I'm sure people are curious.
Sure,
what determines what has what, and what has what sex gene and everything else. So what happens on the science end of it? That
shed comes in, that example we just talked about. I go to the post office box. I get the batch of sheds for the day from the post office box. I open it up. I get that piece of shed out. And really what I end up doing is just take a very small, sometimes if it's an adult ball python, I'm just taking a scale or two. And I'm able to, I've optimized this. Like I said, I've been doing this for 4 years. And that's why I have a bad habit of going off on tangents, because I've been thinking about this and doing this for years. But
as he literally goes off a tangent.
Yeah. so we get just a scale or two, and we're able to lyse those cells, extract the DNA, and then that actual DNA, we do a PCR test. So because of COVID, people are familiar. They hear that, a PCR test. So it's this polymerase chain reaction that we're doing. We're essentially telling in the reaction we're running, we're telling it what part of the DNA we're interested in knowing what the code is. And so it will go in, that PCR will go in and amplify the code that tells me whether it's a boy or a girl, or whether it has piebald, het for pied, or het for clown. It will just pull that information out of the DNA. And then we will be able to either run it on a gel or do a sequence. It's different for different tests. But at the back end of that, that little bit of code from the DNA that tells us what morph it has or whether it's a boy or a girl, we'll have that information, and then we'll be able to report that to you.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so now, this has been going on with lavender albino and pied for a while now, right?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? What have you guys added to the list?
So clown is already going. I've been doing clown for a while now.
Yep.
And then desert ghost is very close. There's several others that are fairly close. Desert ghost will be the next one. And then orange dream and super orange dream, we'll be able to tell those apart, and whether, it doesn't have a allele for orange dream at all. We're fairly close with yellow belly, and I don't know for sure if I'll get some of the other yellow belly complex genes quickly. I may. It's every gene that we go after, every morph we go after, it's its own little journey. And so these are ones that I'm already a ways down the path, but sometimes it's really quick and fast and easy. Other times we think we're getting close and we find out we're not. It's kind of this iterative process. It might work on the first 10 that I run it on, and then I do another batch of 10 and I see something funky and I have to redesign. So Enchi's another one we're close. Genetic stripe is another one we're close.
Hypo.
Yep, hypo is very close. That one will be.
That should be in the next batch, right? We should have desert.
Yep. That
Hypo,
one will be
clown,
pretty quick.
orange dream.
Yeah.
Like you said, Enchi. Yeah. So.
How long does it take to identify and make a test for a new gene? Like on average, I know it's probably different for everything.
Yeah, good qualifier. I was just going to say anywhere from 1 day to 1 year.
Yeah.
On average, I'm not ever just working on one. So I'm working on like 8 to 10 right now. And so they'll just kind of pop out. Like I'll get to a point and be like, oh, awesome. This one's going. Like clown. It popped out, it was clean. I ran another 50, it was clean. I ran another 50, it was clean. I was okay, I'm ready to run people's samples. So on average, I would say it's going to take us from the beginning, getting sheds and doing all the sequencing. It will take a good 3 to 6 months, is pretty average. Once I've already sequenced and I can start doing the analysis, the sequencing, the gathering the sheds and the lysing and getting the DNA and sequencing, that all can take 2 to 3 months just doing that. And so once I have all of that DNA sequence to analyze, then it's that kind of 1 day to 1 year thing, but probably usually another 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. Okay. So on average, when running like the bioinformatics side, if you have a good amount of samples, it's generally 2 weeks to a month. That can get stretched out depending on how many samples you have, how many mutations are involved in that specific morph and things like that. But like when we're working on human cells and we're picking out mutations, if I'm looking for new de novo mutations, it's generally like 2 to 3 weeks. And so, yeah.
Now, is it easier to identify and create a test for a codom or a recessive, or does it make any difference at all?
They don't know that they're incomplete dominant or recessive. They're just mutations. The incomplete dominant or recessive, that's just a name we give it. So it's exactly the same, whether it's heterozygous for a recessive trait, or it's got 1 copy, or it's a super and it's got 2 copies, it's homozygous. As far as the DNA is concerned, there's either 1 copy or 2 or 0. And that kind of recessive or incomplete dominant is what we call it. So the designing and figuring it out is all exactly the same, whether it's incomplete dominant or recessive.
Okay. And what do you expect demand to be when this is finally available, and when is it actually going to be available?
I know that the wait list is over 1,000 already.
Okay.
And by the time this airs, I'm sure it will be much bigger than that. So yeah, I can tell you for over the last 4 years, the post office box actually just got mad at me the other day. I went in to get the sheds, and there was a little sign in there that said, "You have too much mail. you have to come to the counter. And of course I was doing it after hours, so I couldn't go to the counter. I had to go back again on Monday. But anyway, they said that I'm getting 4 times as many, items each week than I was a year ago, and that I either have to come every day or I'm going to have to get a bigger box. But once all of this starts here in a couple of weeks, I would imagine we'll have to figure something else out. But yeah, we talked to a person in Australia. So they have a population about 1/12 the size of the United States. And he's been doing sex determination in birds for 25, 30 years. And he does 20,000 samples a year. I would expect with the ball python market, even just the ball python market, and being in 12 times the size population, that we'll easily do that, and maybe 3 times that.
Okay. Well, now the question that a lot of people are asking is, you just announced a partnership with Morph Market. You announced a partnership with Canova. Why did you guys decide to go with testing through a third party instead of selling right to the general public?
Actually, really the main reason is because, kind of like we discussed earlier a little bit about, being able to know how to, put your right we just touched on it a little bit, but I'm not good at marketing. I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at making sure that the sound's good, and the kind of the little points you want to make sure you have to have a good show. So we thought that it was very important that we can focus on the science. We can focus on making sure the tests are top notch. I actually just quit my full-time job. Today was my last day. But at that job, I had tests that I developed, and I had FDA regulators. It was, products that were going to go into humans. And so that part of it is the part that I need to focus on, making sure that the tests are accurate, that they're done properly, that there's good quality control. So it's for me to be able to manage paying someone else to do that stuff just seemed like it would take away from where my strengths are. And so being able to have someone like Canova and Morph Market, where they've already got these, powerful platforms to be able to educate and make these things available. And then also the data storage, data management, it will be huge to be able to track. And when you sell an animal, to have these genetic test results go with that animal, and will be certified in the software, and, in both platforms, and Morph Market and the Canova software, it will be, something that will go with it and will be certified, and will be something that the user can't change. So it's, much, much better than anything we've ever had before. I'm really excited. I've seen some of the software from both of them as they're developing it. It's awesome. You all are going to love it. It's going to change things for sure.
Well, now you said there's basically 1,000-person list waiting on Morph Market already. How long is that going to take to get through 1,000? What's the wait time on these things, and what's your ability to scale? Because if you're thinking, 50,000 tests in the first year, you can't be doing that out of your bedrooms. Do you guys have an actual lab?
Yeah. So my business partner, Sean Christian, so I've been working on this with him since 2011. I've been friends with him since before that, back in the Morelia Python forums days, in the mid to late 2000s. But anyway, in 2011, we met at Tinley in person for the first time and started talking about this. And then eventually the sex determination started. And so anyway, he has had several businesses over the years and sold some of them. He's got some space in Texas where we will be able to not have to pay rent. We'll have a lab there. We've already started, getting machines there and getting set up. And the way I have things set up, for one person, we can do 400 to 500 tests a week. And so if we get to where we're consistently doing more than that, we'll hire another person that will be able to do 400 to 500 tests a week.
Right.
So we'll be able to scale up fairly quickly. But definitely this first little bit, this little gap that we have before the Tinley show, we will be working on making sure we have everything all ready to go. And that if we need to all of a sudden be able to run another 500 a week, we can hire someone and get going on that immediately. And so what will happen is both in the Morph Market and the Canova software, there, when you go to order a test, there will be something. We want it to kind of be like when you're driving down the highway and you see the ER sign that says how many minute wait time. There'll be something like that. We'll say like last week's wait time for tests were, 14 days or whatever. And so that way, when you order, you'll have an idea what the current wait time is.
Okay.
Won't necessarily mean that's what yours will be. The other variable since COVID is the mail. Before COVID, it was almost always whatever the stamp date on the envelope, I would get it 3 or 4 days after that.
Right.
But I have some now, probably 2 out of 100, that it'll be 2 or 3 weeks that it'll take before they get to us. So we'll try to. We're getting set up to where we will be able to give the customer information that their sample has been received, so they at least know it's here. And then they would know from that point what that wait time will likely be from, both platforms will have that on their website. And I think for the first, until the end of 2022, there might be some longer wait times. Once we get into 2023, especially because new babies will be slowing down, things like that, we can get all caught up and get both systems really smooth. Then I expect it to be like a 1 week turnaround.
Right. Okay. Patrick.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you even doing here, man?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Just hanging out. It's fun here, man.
What was your role in the whole RGI genetic testing thing? What's going like? What are you part of RGI now or no?
No. I think at best to call me a consultant would be fair. Early on, I had a friend reach out and basically tell me that there's another person working on the genetic testing stuff, and that I should reach out to them and see where they were at with it, because I'd been working on some of the stuff myself. So I reached out to Ben, gave him a phone call, and then we started talking and realized that both were working on similar stuff. And then Ben ended up coming and working in my lab, and basically we prepped sheds and got stuff processed, and then from there. So I basically helped him get the initial stuff off the ground. And then whenever he has, if he needs any help or questions or things like that, I get to come in and help him out. And then potentially in the future, if they need more help with detecting mutations, I've learned how to do that myself using some bioinformatics software. So we'll see what happens in the future, if how much help they need from me in that aspect. So,
well, it's probably almost better to be a consultant, less of a gamble on your part, right? But there's a few other companies working on this tech, right? But like what makes your approach to genetic testing different than, let's say, the other doctor,
Dr. Siddell?
Siddell, yes, Siddell or Seidel. I don't know. But what makes it different?
Our focus is completely different than hers. She wants to provide a really cool. I would have loved to have a professor like her when I was in college. She wants a really cool experience for her students. And so she's doing an awesome job. Like I said, I love what she's doing, and I would have loved to have had that. So she's providing an opportunity for them to be able to discover new things that make a difference to people, and they're publishing those. So they're using older technology. It takes more time. It's cheaper. They're able to have people that are not trained and skilled be able to learn and be able to be successful. So it's a slower process, but it certainly works. She's found several mutations now, various albino genes, and then the yellow belly complex ones. The albino ones have been published, and then the yellow belly complex ones should be published soon. Yeah. So it's just a very different focus. She's not planning, at least the last time I talked to her, not planning to sell to the public. She just wants, and she does run some samples for people, but they really only run them a couple times a year, and they don't charge anything for it. They mostly want to get sheds in and be able to design and figure out new things and be able to help the students have success doing something new that no one else has done and be able to publish that. Okay.
Well, there's between Justin and Morph Market, since you guys are you basically have an exclusive deal with both of those, right? Who's going to set the price for the actual test?
So we have agreed with both of them. We will set a base price that we are willing to be able to sell at. and then it's up to them how they're going to market, who they're going to market to. If they want to price higher than that, that's gonna kind of be up to them. So we'll find out here before too long. Where we're going to set, definitely by Tinley, and maybe at least one, maybe both of them will give us a hint before then. But the final price will be them.
Even a price of $50 or $60 is worth it, because if you're selling a $10,000 snake, you want to know. I mean, and the problem with the hets versus the non-hets is that there's such an extreme price difference. Have you thought about all of the the snakes that cannot be sold as 66% or whatever hets now? Have you thought about all of those fucking ball pythons that are gonna be dead because of your fucking test? Where people, if they find out, then why even bother? Let's just put it in the freezer. This, possible het monsoon is worth $12 instead of $2,500. Why should I raise it?
If you go down that route, then the next thought process would be, okay, if we don't design the test, they raise those animals up and have babies from them, and all of those babies are worthless. Then you have not only that animal, but all of its babies that are worthless. So
no, it's a very good point. I think you should change your mind, change your company name from RGI to Cobra Food Inc. Because there's going to be a whole lot of that coming up soon.
Well, hopefully they have good connections with pet stores too.
Yeah, I was about to say, Chris, I can tell you all of the animals that we've tested, that I've tested here personally, when they didn't come back as hets, they just went straight to the pet store. It just saves time.
I literally thought you were going to say they went straight to the freezer.
Right in the freezer. Right in the freezer. No, they went right to the pet store. It's. I mean, it just becomes wholesale at that point, but it also saves time, value, effort. I can think of 3 snakes specifically right now that I would have ended up holding back, and then we tested them, and they weren't het pied, and they, immediately got sold because it wasn't.
Oh, without a doubt, I think it's going to be game changing for the industry.
When I drove down to Justin's to collect sheds, obviously we're talking about all this stuff, and I said, so in your opinion, how much would you pay for a test for het clown or het desert ghost? And he pointed up at the top of a rack. He said, for that clutch right there, I'd pay you $1,000 each.
Please excuse this brief interruption for a word from one of our sponsors. How fucking thrilled am I to have Focus Cubed Habitats joining the Snakes in the Fatman family. They are literally the best display cages that I've ever owned. I was a fan of this husband and wife team of builders from when they were putting out these amazing pieces of fucking art from their garage. Stephen and Ashley have been keeping reptiles for years, and as experienced keepers, they understand how important your animals are in your life. Focus Cubed Habitats provide security and comfort for your animals while maintaining these insane, badass designs that everyone can appreciate. They give you the opportunity to make their home part of your home. You want options? They've got options. Every Focus Cubed Habitat is custom made to your specs, and you could choose from hundreds of options on their website. Too many options? Ashley and Steven have a huge selection of blog-style articles and complete accessory fact pages on their website to help educate consumers about add-ons that will best fit their individual needs. Listen, at the end of the day, these fucking cages are showpieces. Every cage their Focus builds will be the centerpiece of your reptile room. Hell, they could be the centerpiece of your fucking living room. If you have reptiles that you want to display, look no further than Focus Cubed Habitats. You can follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and even fucking TikTok. Or just go old school and go right to FocusCubedHabitats.com and tell them that the Fat Man told you to drop them a line. Right. It's just, I mean, there's a tremendous discrepancy in cost. And at the end of the day, it kind of takes the gamble away. You know, a lot of people consider that the fun part. You know, like God knows on Facebook, you're like, thank God my fucking 11% fucking pied proved out, you know, or some shit like that. So I could see it taking away some of the fun, but I think that the guaranteedness of it all obliterates the fun part. Like if I was guaranteed that I had a het monsoon or a het you know, clown or whatever, it would make a difference in so many breeding plans across the country. And you guys are about to do that. You guys are about to literally change everybody's breeding plans for 2023, you know?
Yep.
Now here's another question, and I'm not saying this to sow discord or anything, but let's say you come up with a test, right? And you find out that acid, confusion, and static are the same thing, right? Which everybody knows they are. Everybody knows butter and lesser are the same thing. Everybody knows coral glow and banana. Who gets the final say in what it's officially called? Because that person has a lot of power too. Like, you know,
I don't think there's going to be a final say on all of, you know, use acid, confusion, static. There's not going to be a final say on from henceforth all said 3 morphs are now confusion or acid or whatever. I think it's going to turn into, we all understand they're the same mutation. There's proof of that, and it's just a line at that point. And so you have acid, you have confusion, you have static still. They're all same thing. We just know definitively they're the same mutation.
Well, you actually said something that's very important there. You said we all know. Have you talked to other ball python breeders?
I'm sorry. You're right. I should rephrase that. We believe it's the same.
We have scientific evidence.
Yeah. The preponderance of evidence dictates.
Yeah, like what I believe it was on your show got pointed out that Enhancer now is listed as Desert Ghost Enhancer line or something like that on Morph Market. So there's already kind of a precedence for that. Once we kind of settle, hey, you know, these are the same thing, then you can still call it a coral glow or a banana, but it'd just be, you know, a line of it, not necessarily a separate mutation.
Right. I got you. Okay.
But from a scientific standpoint, you could make an argument that it would be really difficult to know for sure that they're identical because there can be another gene located close that does change it a little bit.
Oh, Ben, no, you're not supposed to say that out loud. In science, the answer is never yes or no, but you don't tell that to the public. Jesus Christ.
The bottom line is, like lesser and butter and Mojave, I might not be able to see anything other than the main mutation that's causing it, but there could be a secondary one that's only a couple thousand base pairs away that makes it a little darker like a Mojave or makes it a little lighter like a lesser or butter. That's possible. And I might not be able to find that. It might be difficult to figure that out. So I think talking about them as being separate lines is a good, honest way to do it, because we can't definitively say we know for sure there's only one mutation that causes this and it is exactly the same. So,
all right. I mean, that definitely overcomplicates it a little bit, but I don't think you're going to run into that a lot. I mean, I think that people just don't care. Is this tech similar to NIDO testing, IBD testing, anything like that?
No, it's very different. When you're talking about microorganisms, what you're testing and the type of test in the case of NIDO with the virus, I believe it's an RNA virus. You got to deal with RNA. RNA tests are much more complicated. You have to be very careful with the sample material. It has to be very careful. That's why they have to send out kits for that.
Right.
Because it has to be handled carefully when you're taking the sample, when it gets sent in, and how quickly it gets run. All that stuff has to be really carefully done. With what we're doing with DNA, especially because you can dry a shed out completely and the DNA is protected, it's much simpler, much safer, much easier to be able to have a good, solid, dependable test.
So I will say, though, yes and no, right, Ben? It's the same test. The endpoint is similar. Right? They're still PCR-based tests. One's just going from RNA to DNA, right?
Which is massive. That's a big difference.
For the PCR portion, it's not. the end point isn't. But I get what you're saying. I mean, they're similar but different.
Yeah,
Well,
and the reason why there's so much problem with the COVID test too is the same thing. You've got to worry about the you
have RNA
sample,
degradation and when
quality
you're
of the sample.
Yeah, absolutely. But
For us,
the
yeah.
detection,
the actual PCR
right,
part.
yeah, the detection portion of it's a PCR based assay, which is going to be the same. It's just whether your starting material is something that's stable like DNA or ridiculously unstable like RNA.
Yes, but ours is, and the other tricky thing with tests for microorganisms like bacteria and viruses is you want to know if there's any there at all. When we're looking for a mutation, that DNA change is in every single cell. And so instead of trying to find one bit of DNA out of thousands or millions or billions potentially to be able to say whether you have COVID or not, or you have NIDO or not, we're saying we need to see if there's one or two copies in every single cell in this sample. So it's much easier for us to have a reliable test than if you're testing microorganisms.
Okay. Well, and so with this test, you guys 100% guarantee the heads.
Anybody that will tell you that they will give you 100% guarantee on a test is definitely full of shit.
Okay.
So I've been doing this a long time, over 20 years. I've definitely never found a test that's 100%.
No.
The good thing with these tests, like I was just saying, that information is in every single cell in the sample. So I would say that these tests are over 99.9% accurate. And when there is a problem, it's usually because there's a sample switch or cross contamination. Right. So either somebody, labels two bags and then accidentally puts the sheds in the different bags, or on our side, I mix up, a sample, or I'm not careful when I'm doing the work and I, carry some of a sample over to another. But we obviously have many quality control things in place so that doesn't happen, and it's extremely rare. So like I said, out of 1,000, I would be surprised if we had more than one or two that were a problem.
So we could say that your tests are most likely to be correct.
Yes, over 99% or 99.9%. Yes, but I definitely will never say, if anyone tells you 100%, and people did say that some with the sex determination, like, oh, it's 100% accurate. Those words never came out of my mouth. There's people involved in collecting and running and reporting the information. Then there's every once in a while there will be a problem, but it's rare.
Is sex determination included in this one test?
So that what the goal, the long-term goal would be to have a panel where we have 60 different ball python morphs, and sex determination would be one of the parts of that panel. So you could send a shed in, and it would be much like people do with dog breeds. So you send your dog saliva sample in, they tell you what percent Shih Tzu, what percent, Bulldog, blah, blah, blah. So in our case, you'd send in a piece of shed, and we tell you out of these 60 which morphs it's positive for, and we tell you whether it's a boy or a girl. But we'll also have it available as a single test where say, hey, this is my pet ball python, and I want to know whether it's a boy or a girl. You'll be able to do that separately as well.
Okay, separately. Okay. Patrick, you've been a consultant on this, and you also do other reptile business and breeding consulting, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's a relatively new business. I started with Andre Kosovich at Capital Reptiles. We noticed there's a pretty big need in the reptile market in general in coming up with long-term game plans for people's collections, as well as pairings, things to buy, as well as just how they're managing their collection, the sense of supplies that they're buying, how they're keeping stuff organized. And so we started talking to people and realizing there was kind of a desperate need for that. And we actually had a couple of fairly large breeders reach out to us and ask if we would start working with them and kind of use them as our test clients to come out and help them manage, organize their collection, and kind of give them an overview of, our opinions on it, where we think their deficiencies are, look at their pairings and, give them an idea of like, how are you going to get the most bang for your buck, and then of course, now that we have the genetic testing tying in there, we can start looking at like the head-to-head pairings and talk about like, what's going to be the average clutch here? What are the odds on hitting the animals you're looking for? And basically just trying to get most value you can out of it. in a broad sense. We have another large breeder that literally within like 2 minutes of talking to him, we're like, well, we could literally cut your costs in half and quadruple your profits literally by just changing the way you incubate your eggs. You know, they were literally producing 2,000 clutches a year and incubating their eggs in an open space by just cranking the temperature of their entire building up to, 89 degrees, and then being surprised when the back half of their season was slugging out. And we're like, well, here's some free advice. Build an incubator room and let's see what happens. And shocking, the production went up. But ironically, it's small stuff like that, even that, just talking and, can help people out on that.
Well, just so everybody knows, I mean, and he said it was okay to say this, but Patrick is working with JT from fucking Reptile and consulting with him. And JT said within a couple of days, you literally changed his mind about his 90% of his game plan, and he's like, talking to you is the best thing ever, and that's fucking JT. Yeah. So if you're fucking Billy Joe in fucking Arkansas, all right, fucking listen to Patrick. If JT is listening to Patrick, fucking Billy Bob could fucking listen to Patrick. Now, when is this actually being released? Like what's the start date that you're going to be looking at new sheds and getting back to people? And, because I think that all that has kind of been up in the air up until right now. Everybody's saying, oh, in a couple of weeks, we'll be doing this. In a couple of weeks, we'll be doing that. People don't give a fuck in a couple of weeks. They want to know what date. Let me tell you something. If fucking a new Star Wars comes out and they tell me, oh, sometime in October instead of October 1st, like they told me, I would be pissed off. So when is your actual release date for this product?
That's probably why we don't give you a release date, so you don't have as good of a reason to get pissed off.
But that's bad. You don't want to have a bunch of pissed off people peeing on the sheds before they send them to you.
No,
right?
I definitely don't need that. The best estimate, which I certainly have no control over this, but in talking to Justin and John, the best estimate is they're both, and I can attest, I'll get texts and calls back and forth all day long, 10 o'clock at night, whatever. Like, they're working very hard to make this really, really good for everybody. There's been a lot of investment of time, effort, money. It's pretty huge. I think that the biggest thing out of all of this is that keepers and breeders are getting a big win, that both of them are focusing on providing this kind of software and being able to incorporate the genetic testing. But what I would say the best estimate is that they will be able to have at least some test being run. So people being contacted and have their test, say, hey, pay for it, send your sheds in, and have those start getting run. Probably October 1st would be the soonest. So hopefully that first few days of October, we will be able to start doing that. And then Tinley, I think both platforms plan to have everything operational. And so if you're at Tinley and you're, getting on a list, if you bring, if I was you, I would bring sheds to Tinley and money and say, hey, I want to do this as fast as I can. Talk to John and talk to Justin and, use as many nice words as you can. And hopefully they'll get you in there as quick as you can. But Tinley, we will definitely be able to start running and getting back to people. And that's when we'll have that, estimated time on both platforms. So you'll know what the turnaround time's looking like. But like I said, we should be able to, by the second and third weeks in October, be going through 500 samples a week. So
okay.
If there's, 1,000 people, if half of them purchase and if they're, all an average of 10 to 20 each, we can get through those fairly quickly. It's not like there's going to be a 6-month turnaround. It might be 3 weeks or something like that for a little bit. But like I said, I would imagine by January 1st or soon thereafter, it should be down to 10 days or maybe even just a week.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I know Justin and John are both announcing it at Tinley. So I would assume that they're it has to be already there. Now, Is there something that they had to write in the back end of their software to enable the cooperation between them and RGI? Like,
Yeah.
is it going to integrate with both platforms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So there will be a back end data entry for me and the people working with me to be able to put in the information. So you, on the front end as a customer, you'll fill in your information for your animal, what tests you want, and that will go in either Canova or the Morph Market software. And then once we run the test and I have results, I will go into their software and enter that in. And so you'll be able to just check your user account on whichever platform you're using, and you'll be able to see your results and any past results and any that have been accepted. You know, we've gotten the shed and it's in progress. You'll be able to check all that stuff anytime you want.
Right. So you'll be able to check activity or whatever, like when you order a pizza from Domino's.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, that's fairly cool. Now, is there anything else either of you want to say about this? I mean, I've burned through my fucking questions here. I always look at the drama end of it, right? Like fucking that's what this show is about. Like what kind of drama is this going to cause now? Like fucking because you're dealing with ball python people where no matter how many tests you fucking run, people will disagree with you all day long on Facebook, on Instagram, on anything else that they can. So
and what I would say is, if you disagree, buy the animal and then send the shed in again, and I'll run it again.
well, what I would say is, you disagree, buy the fucking fucking $1 million worth of equipment and fucking do it yourself, you dumb fuck, right?
Yeah, it's been entertaining talking to different breeders and hearing more than once, like, I just don't trust those tests. And you're like, yeah, right. But why not? Yeah. I just don't trust it. You don't know. You just don't know. And I'm like, oh, we know. It's okay. We know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys know. Yeah, like I would definitely, go to you guys sooner than I would go to, fucking, I'll use them again, Billy Bob in Arkansas, and be like, Billy Bob, Patrick said this. What do you think? Like I'd really like to get your opinion, living in your mother's basement and fucking still getting an allowance. Yeah. What are some of the possible problems that you foresee with this thing? Oof. Because there's going to be problems.
Yeah, I mean, we could start with breeders testing their animals and then selling the animals that tested as negative as possets still, so they're still trying to get a premium off of those possible negatives. Right. That's a possibility. I know when I've talked to Ben, and I've talked to other breeders. For me, like, I know as a buyer, this is an important thing, and I've bought animals already based on the genetic testing, but I still look at those animals sometimes as possets, and we're still testing them when we receive them, because you want to double check your stuff. I think that the problem is there. It's buying possets that are actually.
But is there going to be any like official documentation given?
Yeah.
With this, that people can't just run a fucking copy off of and say, this fucking, that's what they do with Nido. Like you can't basically, your test can't be like saying that it's Orange Dream, let's say. And then you ship it, and then the stress of shipping triggers the Orange Dream eradicator,
right?
And the snake's not Orange Dream anymore, right? Like,
correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but we'll be able to tell the specific snake that is actually tested. So when you send it, so if a breeder sends in a shed and the genetics come back as het pied, and then he sells that in the animal, customer buys it. Then they send in a shed and it comes back as negative, or they claim it came back as negative. Ben will be able to look at that shed and tell specifically if it was the animal that was previously tested or not.
So your database has the ability to recognize.
What's that?
Your database has the ability to recognize duplicates, obviously.
Yeah. And what we would do if there was a disagreement on whether something was the same animal, like if they bought it as a het pied, it tested het pied, and then once they got the animal, they sent a shed in and it tested not het pied. We can do an identity test, and that would look at hundreds to thousands of genetic markers to be able to identify that individual. It's like a gigantic barcode that's unique to that animal. And so if we need to, we can do that. And we could also say, hey, this person said they bought this animal from you and this is the genetics from it, but it's not matching that now. I need you to send me a shed from the sire or the dam, and we need to see if that matches, and we'll be able to tell if that's really the sire or the dam. And if it's not, then the person's in trouble. So,
Well, yeah, but who's going to call them on that? Like once you kind of hand off this responsibility to Morph Market and Canova, it basically becomes Morph Market and Canova's job to mitigate
I mean,
an issue.
it'd just be like any disagreements right now without the genetic testing. This would be something on top, and it wouldn't be, I think this or that. Like I'll be able to tell you, yeah, that animal is definitely the same animal, or that animal definitely came from this one, or I'll say that couldn't have come from it, and we'll have that as a way to be able to solve a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not like we don't already have people claiming like they're buying, possets that are reporting it to Morph Market. Like that's already happening. So this is just, I think this is actually a solution to that problem, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, and as far as like what you were talking about earlier, people, taking a certificate and saying it goes to a different animal. The way this will work in the software, a person can print off a certificate of some sort, but that information stays with that animal. When it's sold, it goes with it. And so if they try to put that animal up for sale later, a person doesn't have the ability to add het pied or take het pied away. They can't do that as a certified test. It will be in that software that it is het pied.
Okay.
It's not. It was tested for het clown and was negative, and that the user can't change that. And so that's a big difference. It's not like we're just emailing them a certificate that says this animal's het pied, and then they can just say that for whatever. That's different. And that's another reason why we wanted to partner with Canova and with Morph Market, because they have that ability, and it's going to be world class. It's going to be really cool.
Oh yeah, I saw some of the Justin software, and unbelievable. Morph Market software is great too. But I think that this is what the ball python community probably needs, is more like a way of proving lineage, right? Like, because all the other guys really do that. Like the chondro guys do it, the dog people do it, the cat people do it. Patrick's smirking. What's going on with that smirk? Right?
It's just so you're 100% accurate, right? All the other species do it. When you talk to a ball python person, it's I don't give a fuck what they look like or what the lineage is. Does it have pastel in it? Deal, I'll take it.
Right.
Bad example of pastel. Sunset in it, a deal, I'll take it. They don't give a fuck. So yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing though.
The majority don't, right? Like I mean, the majority of ball python people are fucking cunts, right? Like nobody wants to be friends with.
You're talking about the majority, 90.
Yeah, but I mean, the majority of people are not doing the $100,000 a year, business. They're doing a $7,000, a year business,
right?
And I actually think that those people are going to be the more reluctant to actually test, because if you have an $800 test or an $800 clutch, and your test is, let's say, $60, you may not even get $60 for some of those animals if they come back as non-het or possible hets, right? Like, so
if you're regularly producing $800 clutches as a ball python breeder, you need to reach out to me so we can talk.
That's what I'm saying, right? That's a real plug. I was hoping you would
right off the bat there. That's an issue in itself. Look, and you're going to have misses on clutches and stuff like that, and have low value clutches, but in theory, if you're doing this as a business, testing these clutches, the whole clutches in general, should always be a net positive.
Right.
Not one clutch that I've had here that I've tested the entire clutch, have we ever said, oh, we lost money over that? Because generally speaking, the added value of a het for most of these genes adds significant value to individual animals. So in general, it should not be an issue. Even for the smaller breeders, you should probably still be doing it. If nothing else, it can add to holdbacks that you want to keep. So even if you're not selling them for value, you're not having to hold back 2 and 3 extra animals potentially. And if you start doing the math over years, not holding those 2 or 3 animals back can save you literally thousands of dollars.
Right. Yeah.
And the customers are going to get, whether it's 6 months or a year from now, get to a point where if you list it as a pos het and they know it could be tested, they're not going to pay a penny more than if it's not het. It's
Man, I hope you're right on that, Ben. I hope you are. I think you are, but ball python people are stupid.
Yeah, totally right. Well, which leads to a next question: like, how quick are you going into other species with this, like blood pythons and chondros, and would you be able to tell like a golden eye, or I don't even know recessives in other mutations, but I know that there's a big boa market. This sounds like it would definitely be a positive in the boa market. I think even like blood python markets are still big enough. They're not as big as the ball python market, but they're still millions of dollars floating around these other species. So how quickly can you do, or is it just a snake is a snake, but you still have to identify different markers in different species, right?
Yeah, for sure. The albino will certainly be different in different species. Retic albino versus a ball python albino. It might be the same gene that's affected, but the actual change is likely to be different. So we would need to identify that and design a test for it. So when you start talking other species, morphs will be something that we'll go after. And anyone listening to this that's got a lot of boa morphs or a lot of retic morphs or any of those, please do reach out to me and start getting really the process. I will start it immediately once I have enough sheds of albino retic or whatever batik and bloods or whatever. If I get 20 or 30 here, then I will start working on that. I will start the ball rolling, which from the very beginning, like I said, is probably like a 3 to 6 month wait.
And what's the cost of something like that? Like for every new gene?
It's not cheap.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So with the ball python ones, we have, first of all, we had a GoFundMe, which, I'm going to be turning that off here pretty soon. Since
I saw you didn't hit the goal, right? It was like we $4,000 away from hitting the goal.
We got 2/3 of the way there, and
right.
ended up that we didn't ask for enough anyway. So we definitely appreciate the people that donated. Every cent of that went to this, and it did make it so that we could do this faster. We would probably be, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 months slower than if we didn't have people donate. So that was awesome. And I've communicated and talked back and forth that several people excited about ball pythons, but also some of the other things we're doing. So it was a really good thing. But I didn't do a good job of weekly updates and, kind of keeping that going. I fell off because I got so busy doing all the other things. So it's expensive. We've definitely put a lot of money into it already. What I'm hoping is that we will be able to fund a lot of that stuff, but that for some things where it's smaller, where we don't see that there's going to be enough interest to be able to fund it ourselves, then I may ask for a pretty common amount. Would probably be somewhere in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, where we'd say, okay, if you want me to do axanthic in dry mark-on, which is one that's been, I've been talking with someone about starting, then that would be, if you guys can get this many sheds to me and $5,000, I will get it going. And so some of those kind of more niche things, I might have to ask for help from the keepers to be able to get it going. But beyond morphs, once you start talking about other species, there are other things that are also very interesting, like locality. So they did a crowdfunding thing. I think it was a GoFundMe also with panther chameleons, and they raised $5,000. And so we are developing a test to be able to tell localities. The really awesome thing that already existed for that was that there were researchers that went to Madagascar, I believe is where they're at, and they traveled around and got over 350 samples. Not only did they get samples from each of those animals, they took pictures of all of them so that they could talk about color and how that related to the genes. And anyway, so we had this huge database where it showed differences between localities. And so we're able to gather that information and compare it to what's been published. So locality, species versus subspecies. There's people that have fights about whether something's pure or not. All of those things we'll be able to do. Retics, we should be able to design a test that will tell you, what's the percent chance this is going to be under 7 feet versus over 7 feet, things like that. Those are all things
Right.
that develop. We
You're
just got to.
You're gonna put some people out of business by finding out that their super dwarfs aren't actually super.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We just got to get the test. You got to get the sheds here. Oh, it's nighttime.
Nighttime at Patrick's. Yeah.
Hey guys,
Gotta
Bill
get
is on a timer. I apologize.
the sheds here to be able to design the test, and then all of those things are doable. So I think identity testing, where you can tell an individual apart. You can also do relatedness testing. So in indigos, that's a really important thing. They can tell whether if you have a male and 3 females, or you can do that relatedness test and be able to say, okay, that's the female you want to put him with, where they're the most genetic variation will be, and you're likely to have healthy offspring. So another thing that I could see, this won't be this year, but eventually, breeders that want to, ball python breeders that want to, would be able to have a inbreeding coefficient for their breeders. So you could say, hey, my males are all above this blah, blah, blah percent, inbreeding coefficient. And so you would be able to know when you go to buy from someone, if to be able to get their triple recessive, if they did it all by taking 2 animals and then just breeding between those offspring of those 2 animals, and they have a bunch of inbreeding going on, you would know that from that inbreeding coefficient. And
Okay.
Spoiler alert, Ben. They did.
What?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. They did.
Yeah. They all did.
That's another thing. In cattle breeding, they have something called estimated progeny differences, and so they're able to measure and see, the offspring of a sire, whether they're going to have more milk production or better marbling, things like that. So we would be able to do that as well with egg production. We could tell you, we could do like an estimated progeny difference for a female line, and say, hey, females from this line are more likely to have 8 or 9 or 10 egg clutches versus ones from this line that are having 5, 6, and 7 egg clutches. We can tell that genetically once we have run enough of these. We can pull that information. That's part of what I did for my dissertation when I was in grad school, was looking at those kind of quantitative genetic traits, reproductive traits in ball pythons. And so that's something that we can also do down the road that will be really cool and be powerful, and be able to make the customers more informed, and also keep the breeders honest. If they're going to put their inbreeding coefficient up because they know customers care, because they want animals that don't have inbreeding problems, then those breeders are going to have to do a better job of not inbreeding like crazy.
Right. Yeah. In the long run, I think the value here is more the data, like anything else, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day, that you're not gonna be able to avoid becoming a data company, as opposed, as similar to Facebook, let's say, or Twitter. So, how far behind do you think your nearest competition is, and will that be given away once you guys start doing things the way you do it?
I feel, whether it's foolish or not, I feel pretty confident with the 20 years of experience I have, and the gigantic jump I have on everyone else, and my personal drive. Like I said, this is something I've been thinking about for over a decade, and obsessing about, and been up until 3 or 4 in the morning while I'm processing shed samples for people thinking about. This is something that I'm going to crush. I just quit my full-time job. I'm not going back again. So I'm going to put 100% into this. It'll be pretty damn hard for someone to catch up. Obviously, it'll happen eventually. There will be other companies that will do similar things, but
well, in a business like this, right? Like in a business like this, a 6-month jump on any competitors could mean hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? I mean, it's like and as long as you consistently strive to keep that head start, you guys should be fine.
And that's why we picked the partners that we did, the vendors that we did. We know that both Canova and Morph Market are powerful. They're doing the very best. They're working hard. They're innovating. They're staying on top of their game. And that was extremely important to us, that we want to make sure all parts of this is moving as fast and as aggressively as possible. We want to do it right, do it the best, and stay at the front, and have as much available for customers for questions that they have about their animals. We want you to be able to find out what that DNA in your animal can tell you about it.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is, if somebody, I mean, because this is going to become commonplace, right, in a year or two, it's going to be like every breeder is doing this. Every animal gets tested. I think. I mean, you would think that, every breeder and every animal would get NITO tested, but they don't do it. So, I forgot my next question. It was probably a stupid question, so I'm not really too worried about it. But at the end of the day, NITO could be tested by rail or fish head, right? Do you see in a year people having that choice, or are you hoping that it's only you?
It's not really a hope. I'm pretty confident it would be very difficult in a year for anybody to have the kind of diversity of tests available that we'll have. They certainly could have some of the tests available and be able to do that some, and maybe they can do that cheaper, but to be able to have it integrated into a software data management system that's going to help them be able to sell their animals and keep that information with their animals, probably not. So if you just want to know if your snake is a yellow belly, whether it has yellow belly in it, or you just want to know if it's a het pied or something like that, that certainly could be available by another company, or a sex determination test. That's possible. But to be able to do what we're doing, especially once we have a 50, 60 gene panel, I don't see anybody catching up to that. Definitely not in a year. I don't know if even 3 years would be possible.
Right. And what's the size of your team right now?
It depends on what you call our team. So officially in Rare Genetics Inc., it's just Sean and me, just the two of us right now. But we definitely work very closely. We've done a very good job and Sean is much more business minded than me. So it's been very good to have his guidance and abilities. But we've done a very good job of making sure that we have people that we're collaborating with that are the best at what they do and are able to move quickly and get things done and get it right. So we have several people that help us. I would imagine that we will be hiring at least a couple more people here very quickly to be able to make sure that, like I said, we can do 500 tests a week right now if either I'm running them or Sean's running them. One person can do that, but we will want to ramp that up. I'm pretty confident that we're going to have more than that.
So are you saying that Patrick did not earn his spot?
Oh, he got offered. He got offered. He doesn't want to run samples, and I don't blame him at all.
I don't need another boss in my life. It's nothing personal.
That's what I'm saying. I think Patrick has done well enough, where he doesn't have to jump at anything. But fucking, this is a big deal. No, it's definitely a big deal. Yeah.
No, it's awesome, and I loved getting to work with Ben early on just getting samples in and talking about it and doing stuff and learning some of the stuff myself and learning how to do it. No, it's been a lot of fun. Just like I said, I've definitely transitioned away from working from people as much as I can and working with people more than anything. And they weren't looking for that at the moment, and that's okay. So
right. That's actually I respect that. Fucking no boss, right? Like that's stick it to the man. Patrick is like, I'll bend Ben over and fucking bang him in the head. Like I'm in charge. Anything I'm involved in, I'm in charge. All right.
Yeah.
But all right. So how could people get in touch with you? I know this is opening up a can of fucking worms because both of you are just gonna get you better start a different email account and just like idiot@macknightstables.com or fucking morons at RGI inc.com because there's going to be so many people messaging you. But Ben, how could they message you if they want?
The three best ways to get me is Facebook, Instagram, and our website. All of it's Rare Genetics Inc. So at Rare Genetics Inc., Facebook, Instagram, and then raregeneticsinc.com. Any of those three, if you go to the website, there's a place to a contact place where you can send your question or comment. So those three are the best way to get to me.
All right. And Patrick, don't worry. I'll lay out your phone number for everybody to see.
No, that's good.
How can they get in touch with you, man?
Yeah, for any of the consulting stuff, the two main places is either at macknightstables.com, on Instagram or Facebook at Macknight Stables, or if you reach out to Capital Reptiles, it's Andre Kosovich. We're doing it together, so you can reach out at Capital Reptiles on Instagram or Facebook there as well, and you can talk to us. You can start doing stuff.
Is the consulting business going to have its own separate name, or?
Yeah, we will. We're still in the very early stages of trying to get everything organized and figure out how we want to reach out to the public and service everybody that we can in the best way possible. Right now, we're just taking on a few individual clients to see how that goes. But the plan is in the next 6 months to branch out and start really tapping into the main market itself and dealing with a little bit wider audience. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, and Ben is located in Texas, right?
I'm in Virginia, and Sean.
Oh, you're both in Virginia. Okay.
Yeah. Ben's about 3 hours away from me, so had a couple of meetups.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll be down there soon. So
I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some fun. Hopefully, Andre will.
Andre lives about 45 minutes from me, so he'll definitely be here as well. So
yeah, no, we'll definitely hook it up and we'll get together. Guys, thank you. I think this is going to change a whole lot of people's shit for the next couple of years. And congrats to both of you for knocking this out of the park. It's going to be so much nicer to not have to worry about are the testing just for lavender, albino, and pied anymore. And I honestly can't believe that nobody else has been trying this hard to introduce as many genes as you guys are. So you guys are going to have probably 6 to 8 initially, right?
By Tinley, that's the goal.
By Tinley.
That should be doable.
Okay. Well, that's a good deal. Well, fucking listen, go get your fucking dumb snake tested with Rare Genetics and fucking figure out how to make more dumb snakes with fucking Patrick Macknight, man. Make it happen, man. Dude. Both of you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit and kind of having me be the first podcast that you guys came on to announce this shit. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it as well.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later on, man.
Yeah, later, bud.
Thank you.
Here at Snakes and a Fat Man, we're huge supporters of diversity. We're proving that point here by having our first ever boa breeder as a sponsor on the show. Boa Affliction has been around since 2010, and when they saw the VPI T-positive gene, they immediately shifted their focus and decided to make not just visually stunning albino boas, but they quickly realized that the T-positive snows and sunglows really stood apart from the T-negative albinos that were available at the time. This original VPI gene has maintained its place in the market for the last 10 years and shows no sign of slowing down. Here's the thing. When you invest into your 401k, a 401k for all you ball python people is a fund that you invest in for your retirement. But when you invest in a 401k, you just don't invest in Walmart. You invest in Amazon, Verizon, Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. That's all we're trying to say here. 100% of your collection doesn't have to be ball pythons. Throw a few boas in there and be part of a different type of cool crowd. And when you do that, invest with Kenny over at Boa Affliction. Great, no bullshit guy with an awesome website. And how in the fuck am I gonna say no to a guy who uses this chick in his promo picture? Can't do it. Can't do it. I tried everything. Go check out Kenny today at boaffliction.com. Sticking with my supporting of diversity, I actually hired a millennial to handle all of my social media, but I had to fire him because he didn't show up for work. So I'm just going to leave this picture up here for a little while longer. All right, so hopefully that answered a lot of your questions straight from the fucking horse's mouths. Thanks again to Ben and Patrick. I really appreciate you guys doing this with us. One of the cool things about Arlington is I got to actually meet some of the badass fucking Patreon members scrolling up over here. Chris Sexton from Hello Guys Serpents, Charlie and Gina Points from Points Pythons. I mean, just fucking a bunch of great people. Go follow all of these guys here. Go follow everybody I mentioned on this fucking podcast today, but especially these guys right here. And if you're in a position to help the channel grow, help us out. We're doing a lot of cool shit. Go to patreon.com/snakesandthefatman and become a member of the Reptile Cool Guy Club. The only Reptile Cool Guy Club as far as I'm concerned. We dropped this show, the main Snakes and the Fat Man show, on YouTube and all audio platforms on the 1st and the 15th of every month. And we got some killer fucking guests lined up for the next few months, so I'm very excited about it. We also do the open Zoom call for reptile keepers every other Sunday. I think the next one is, yes, October 16th. And on alternating Sundays, catch the new show, the Fat Man Live Show. I'm having a ton of fun with the live show, and the next one will be on October 9th. Big things are coming up for the old Fat Man Network here, including some new shows that we're going to announce. And we also have the 15 Minutes of Lame Best Of competition, where you could vote on your favorite 15 Minutes of Lame contestant from this past year. We're going to do things a little bit different, so there's no Canadian fuckwad cheaters here. And we're actually going to have 5 judges. Myself, the big dog, Antoine Hood, the fucking big dog, Shane Kelly, and that fucking nutty Italian, Donato Signore. We're all gonna vote, and the online voting is only gonna account for 20%. So we're each gonna have a 20% vote, and if you want your online vote to count, then let it be like American Idol. Fucking get it in there. But don't be a fucking scumbag cheater, you fucking degenerate fuckheads. Oh my God. Okay. That being said, you know, I know that none of the regular people cheat. I fucking love you guys. It's always those fuckhead Canadians. That's all I'm saying. Guys, I fucking love you guys for staying here. I appreciate you hanging out for the entire show again. It's just one of the things that keep me going. So definitely I will see you in 2 weeks. I'll actually probably see you in 1 week on either the Fat Man Live or the Zoom call show. So take care, everybody. Everyone talks their own shit about what kind of racks you should buy. Metal racks are great, but everyone doesn't want a goddamn 7-foot high, 6-foot wide, 2,000-pound metal rack in their fucking house. That's a 2 refrigerator footprint, man. 2 fucking refrigerators. Sea Serpents makes insane quality racks that could fit anywhere. They're stackable PVC racks that are living room friendly, and they're shipped fully assembled with heat tape already installed. Just plug it into a thermostat and you're ready to go. When we had the shop, we had over 20 Sea Serpent racks there before they ever became a sponsor of Snakes and the Fat Man. I don't breed much anymore these days, but I still have a few racks here in my house, and you could be goddamn sure that they're Sea Serpents. Oh, and they also make hotbox incubators, probably the best reptile incubators made in America. At the height of our breeding business, we had 4 4-foot hotbox incubators, and again, I still have a small hotbox incubator here in case anything I keep actually does breed. Go to SeaSerpents.com and check out their incredible selection of PVC racks and tell Chris Nettles that the Fat Man sent you.